Hi everybody, welcome to Midweek. I got myself a really good guest today. We're going to be talking about our strategy as a church. Remember when in Envision we talked about all of the different areas of gospel-centered and neighbor-loving? Today, that's where we're at, neighbor-loving. Where did all this come from? Well, same thing all of our strategy came from, the gospel, the teachings of Jesus. And one of the ways that Jesus was introducing this concept of loving our neighbor, Acts talked about it, but certainly we know the story of the Good Samaritan. One of the things, Stephanie, that struck me as I was thinking about that story is that guy didn't choose that neighbor. You know, the Samaritan didn't choose that neighbor. He was just going to doing his work. And so in a way, our neighbors are not people we choose. They kind of choose us. And maybe if we believe in the sovereignty of God, which we do, God chooses those for us. And so one of the things that we want to talk about today is a neighbor that all of us live next to. Every person in this city lives next to this neighbor. It's our schools. And there's a lot of debate, all kinds of educational debate on schools and different things. But at the same hand, there's a whole lot of debate about Samaritans and, you know, how you love them and do you love them and should we associate with them? And so we're going to set all of that aside because the reality is we don't choose our neighbors. God chooses our neighbors. And one of the things that we have is all of us live next to schools. You and I work next to a school. We have schools downtown. So one of the areas that we want to talk about today is how God's laid up on our heart, largely, I think, in our church historically, but also currently through you, Stephanie. And that is you have a passion to help our church connect to our neighbor. Why the schools? What has stirred in your heart that has caused you to say, our schools in a variety of ways, and we're going to talk about 3 of them today, it's something that's kind of passionate for you. Where'd that come from?
Well, obviously I work with kids, and as I think about the kids in our community, every child, whether they go to a public school or private school or homeschool or co-op, go to a school. So if we want to reach every kid in our community, it's through the schools.
And oftentimes we see it in Upward, we see it Midweek, we see it Skills Camp. We frequently have touched families by the entry point of those students, haven't we? And in fact, honestly, there's a whole lot of people who choose our church because I want my child in this ministry. So when we're looking at the schools, we're not just looking at kids in the 5th grade, kids in the 3rd grade, maybe in high school. We're looking at that child who lives in a family system, whom when we love that child and love that school, we're getting access into the whole family. Our church has had over the years, and I think this is always important to remind us, this is not new to us. We've adopted, probably before your time and mine, we used to do reading buddies with Grant and a variety of other things. So God has led us kind of almost, if you will, back into a practice that we've done for years ago. We've got 3 schools that we're going to kind of focus on. Where did those schools come from in your mind? We know where they came from. They're in the city. But why those 3 schools? Give us the names and then tell us a little bit about how they became on our selection.
So first one is our own elementary school, Capital Christian, and that one made sense. Our church has obviously a close connection and tie, and that's our elementary school. And for our high school, North Salem High School made sense. We have partnered with them sporadically in the past, and we've got some people on the ground in the school that just makes that partnership make sense. And now we want to partner with them consistently and show up regularly. And then for the middle school, I just went to the one that was closest to our church and also was willing and looking for a church partnership. They actually wanted a church partnership, and that's Roberts Middle School at Riverfront, and that's just less than a mile away.
That one's a new one.
Yeah.
In fact, my guess is probably about 99% of our church, including me, had no idea that this school existed. Yeah. It's actually, 2 years old?
Yeah, this is its 2nd full year.
And it's on Commercial, right across the street from the chamber. Mm-hmm. And probably most of us didn't even know there was a school there. What started that?
Some of you may have heard of Roberts High School, which is actually middle and high school, and that's for kids, that's out on State Street for kids who have been expelled from their neighborhood public school. Roberts at Riverfront is not that. Roberts at Riverfront is for 7th and 8th grade kids who after COVID came back and maybe needed a little more structure or attention, so much smaller class sizes. It's a school of about 80 7th and 8th grade kids who have not been expelled but just elected to have a little bit different schooling environment. And so there's about 6 full-time staff and 80 students there.
In the past, our involvement has been reading buddies. We did at North, we've done North a couple of times on our Serve Salem. Yeah. At North, we did a large Christmas gift a couple of years ago where we helped buy the marching band equipment. That was really cool. We've also recently done a lunch there. And so as we're looking forward to Roberts, Capital, and North, what are some of the ways that you envision our church connecting and serving these schools?
We want to continue to bless the teachers through food is the best way to their hearts and to bless them. So we want to continue to do that a few times a year at each of those 3 schools. If possible, fulfilling wish list items, especially at Roberts where they might identify some things that would be really helpful for these kids. So we're putting that together. Another big one at Roberts, which I didn't ever think about, but most of those kids rely on 2 meals a day from the school. So the schools provide breakfast and lunch. But the meal size for a kindergartner is the same as the meal size for a 15-year-old boy. And so those kids are hungry. And so a big need that I identified there was snacks, just so that they're not distracted by hunger and can actually, when we're hungry, we don't obey as well. It's hard to think. It's, we all get hangry. We know that term comes from. So snacks for them, so similar to how we provide snacks for skills camp, prepackaged, that kind of thing. That was a big need there, but then also we want to show up in the building. We don't just want to send resources, we want to be there. So at North, some of the different opportunities are before and after school kind of greeters or supervision as kids are arriving and leaving, and then at lunch times as well. That's a big need there, just to kind of be in the lunchroom hanging out, and that could be a once a week commitment or an everyday commitment. And then at Roberts, they're trying to get after school programs started. A lot of these kids aren't in sports, don't have anything productive to do after school, so they're trying to get some things off the ground for after school programs. So that could be if you have a background in art or music or cooking or really anything, and would come in and just help lead a club for kids.
Sometimes, I kind of think of just an illustration, a rest stop or ministry to first responders. That is a place they can get all kinds of snacks. But one of the things that because of that they come, and we have people coming to that every day. We also have a place where they can put up prayer requests, different things like that. So I think when people look at it, it's like, well, it's, just snacks. Well, snacks are kind of like a gateway and of serving them, praying for them. And certainly we did it at North. So we are looking at, how many people are looking at? At least a couple of people at each location?
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome to have 10 at each. That's kind of I would love, retired or you're available in the morning, great. There's stuff to do in the afternoon too. Yeah. So as it works in your schedule, I'd love to have 10 people committed to each of those schools.
So each of the schools, we're looking at 10 people, could be more. This thing's got great capacity. North is huge. And we do have people from our church that are serving already at North, certainly people at Capital. So if a person says, that's an interest to me, I love my neighborhood, I envision serving, I've got time, what's the next step? Where do they go?
They go online. You can use the Church Center app or go to our website to the events tab, and there you can sign up immediately to bring snacks for Roberts. What that would look like is we're looking for someone to commit to October to May. Once a month, you're grabbing a Costco-sized snack and bringing that to me, and we'll deliver that. There's a place to sign up if you know you want to serve at North. There's also a tab for prayer walking. We'd like to do that at each of the schools at least once a month. And then a tab for I'm not really sure, I want to have more of a conversation, and then I would contact you. So you want to go on, sign up on that. You're not committing necessarily to anything, but even if you just want more info, go to the Church Center app or events.
Church Center app, events, sign up for, what's the label?
For Our Schools.
For Our Schools. Nice. Old school, if you don't like the internet, her name is Stephanie.
give me a call.
And give her a call. And this is going to be incredible. Because good deeds creates good favor, and it gives us the opportunity to share the good news. Glad you're with us today. This coming weekend, we've got more of our beautiful and messy lives. It's been a great series. Thanks so much last week. Woo, God worked. There was all kinds of stuff. How do I know that? Because you told me. We were praying, and God really met a lot of people's needs. And so this has been a great series. Enjoy this week. Can't wait to see you this weekend, and sign up for our schools. Have a great day.